There's a lot of discussion around this kind of expectant millennial generation in the workforce that is, I would argue, expectant but also incredibly talented. What do you expect from, or what will the impact be on corporate America as this sort of fragile generation, if you will, starts to enter the workforce?
Yeah, so first we have to be very, very clear that the kids born in 1995 and after are not millennials. So the last millennials graduated from college, I mean, those who are at least going for 4 years, they graduated from college around 2015, 2016. Everyone who's graduating after that is Gen Z. And they had a substantially different childhood. If you were born in 1996, you had a substantially different childhood than if you were born, say, in 1993, in that you got social media at a much younger age, you were more overprotected. So let's be very clear. Millennials are actually doing fine. Millennials are creative. They go out and start businesses. Every generation loves to rag on the one behind it. But when you look at the mental health stats, the millennials are doing fine. The next generation, Gen Z, is not. Gen Z, there's a really sharp spike around 2012, 2013. If you look at all the data on teen mental health, you see that nothing is changing except for depression and anxiety, and those are going up very fast, going up in boys somewhat and going up in girls much faster. And so the campus – so this is what hit us on campus around 2013, 2014, when Gen Z arrived on campus and brought their norms of safetyism and fragility and asked for more protection. Once they began graduating, getting hired, now in the last year, only in the last year, whenever I talk to someone in business, I very often hear a story like, we were in a sales meeting and, somebody used a metaphor or told a joke and next thing I know, there's a complaint to HR and as one said to me, we're all just exhausted from dealing with this stuff. It's like, we have a job to do here and we're spending all our time policing speech and responding. How do we respond to it? And it's not, if it was obviously racist stuff, that would be one thing. But like one story was, in a meeting, somebody said, yeah, but, that would be like selling ice to Eskimos. And a recent college grad objected and went to HR and complained. Now, you might say, is this an anti-Eskimo joke? But this is what call-out culture is all about. It's not about did you say something bad about Eskimos, that they have a lot of ice up there. No, it's if you can possibly interpret someone else's words in the worst possible way, you should do so because that's how you get prestige points. Yeah. And so this campus call-out culture, which is completely antithetical to cooperation. I mean, people who do this, it's very hard to cooperate with them. You have to walk on eggshells around them. So it's going to have a transform. This is my prediction. I know you like predictions on this show. My prediction is that all the problems that we have on campus, the endless conflicts over words and clothing and food, these endless conflicts are coming to you in corporate America. It depends on the industry. I hear they're already there in journalism and tech, actually. But I think they're going to enter just about every industry. I mean, maybe not mining or something, but any industry that hires smart kids from the elite schools, especially in the Northeast and West Coast, is going to be importing this conflictual attitude.
And so I think we're already seeing it. We're already seeing that the moment you complain to HR, every complaint has to be taken very seriously, immediately. There's a general kind of gestalt where, all right, we have to investigate it, and it can't be dismissed out of hand. And my sense is occasionally It's probably appropriate to say, well, that's just stupid. That's get back to work and show that there are some boundaries around what qualifies as a complaint. And also to the extent that if someone is really brave coming forward, you create a supportive environment where they can reach out, but also to acknowledge in certain instances that someone, this isn't a valid complaint. But just so you advised our headmaster, how would you advise managers in these companies as they start to see this rise in fragility?
That's right. So this is going to be huge. And I should work up an inspiring speech and approach that leaders can give. So I think the key thing is with all these conflicts, you always have to start by looking at what are they right about? What's the other side right about? And so I think a company where you just sort of say, come on, get thick skin, get back to work, you might be masking some problems, and obviously with Me Too and other things, there are real problems. There are cultural problems that have to be addressed. So I think the first step is a company has to show that it is serious about creating a welcoming, inclusive culture. That it's serious about cracking down on any displays of racism or sexism. So you can't just give a speech. You have to really show that your heart's in the right place and you're working on it. Once you do that, then I think you can give a speech more along the lines that you were suggesting, something like, look, we're all together here to do something together. We think we have a great product. We think we serve our customers well. We're in a competitive environment, and if we don't pull together and hold together, we're going down. So we got to work as a team. And if you invoke noble purpose, if you invoke encompassing identities, then I think within that you can say, okay, now how are we going to resolve our disputes? There's going to be endless misunderstandings. We're human beings, for God's sakes. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have slips of the tongue. We're going to misinterpret each other's words. That's always going to happen. So let's decide, how are we going to do this? Are we going to initiate a bureaucratic procedure every time? If so, we're going down and we'll be out of business in a year or two. Or are we going to try to give each other the benefit of the doubt and try to work this out? So I think the more a company has rigid bureaucratic procedures to handle grievances, the more it's going to resemble a modern college campus, just with endless bureaucracy. And as you know, in our bathrooms, have you noticed the signs in the bathrooms at Stern?
Yeah.
So yeah, it basically says if you see something, say something. We have a bias response team, and students are told, here are 3 ways you can report anyone who you think has shown bias, and the data. What they're basically responding to. Most of the cases are students reporting professors for something the professor said in class. So we're all teaching on eggshells, and I think the corporate world, obviously, you always have to be politic. You always have to be careful, but I think it's going to get a lot worse.
Yeah, it's. You'd like to think universities would be a safe place where we'd be a little bit more generous with each other, and if someone, in an attempt to be provocative or push the boundaries of your comfort zone around learning, that we'd be generous with one another. And I find that generosity is disappearing. And
exactly.
Go ahead, John.
Oh, no, that's the heart of the problem. So as a professor, as an academic, we trace our lineage back to Socrates. He is our patron saint. And what did he do for a living? He provoked. That was the whole style. And so he couldn't really do it in downtown Athens. And what they did was they removed out to a grove of olive trees just outside of Athens, where they had different norms. And they created the kind of community in which people challenge each other. And out of those challenges and conflicts, the truth emerges. So that's our foundation myth. That's our origin story. And that's the way I experienced the academy until 2014. Yeah. And 2014, 2015, everything changed. And now I am not provocative. I don't tell jokes. Because I have to teach to the most sensitive student in the room, not the average 100%. Student, not the, yeah.